Welcome back to my channel. My name's Alyssa, and today we'll be talking about my knitting progress in February. Oh my gosh. My phone is recording. My first finished project is a crocheted granny stripe blanket, that I made for a friend who is expecting a baby in a few months. I made this out of Baby Bee yarn, and I unfortunately ran out about 3/4 of the way through the project, and they don't make this yarn in this colorway anymore, so I had to source some on eBay. But luckily I was able to find enough to finish my project. I spent a few months making the blanket, and honestly I held the yarn double, so it's pretty thick for a baby blanket. I enjoy throwing a couple of crochet projects in throughout the year, but I find that I get a lot more wrist pain when I crochet, so I try not to do it super often, which is lucky for me that I prefer knitting over crochet, because that would be a pretty big bummer. My next finished object is the lime skirt that I made out of recycled yarn from, I believe it's from We Are Knitters. I finished this project in like 2.5 weeks. I sped knit this project because we are going to Belize and I wanted to have this swimsuit cover up as an option for our trip. So it's a really quick knit, and it was a great stash buster project for me because I had this recycled yarn for a really long time, and it's fun and funky, but it wasn't the right material for the project that it was in, but I feel like this is the right project for it. So I highly recommend this pattern. I think it was really fun to knit. This is my first sort of lace pattern, and I had a good time. I figured out how to fix it about halfway through when I dropped a stitch. So there are a couple of dropped stitches in there, but overall I thought it was a great starter project for lace. I think that's it for finished objects for February. So next I'll go into works in progress. The first work in progress that I have is the new Lotto sweater. I'm making it in this really pretty plum color. Honestly, the camera is picking up more purple, but I would say it leans more blue than this. Just this weekend, I cast on the collar. I like to do the collar before I finish the body and the sleeves because I find it gives you a better sense of what the final fit will be like. I definitely wouldn't say that this project is a slog. So let me be clear. I'm having a lot of fun with the cables. I think this large size of cables makes it just interesting enough that it's easy to pick up casually and not really reference the pattern, but interesting enough that you don't get bored. I'm making this sweater in this Cherub Aran Weight yarn, which is really soft. It is a 55% nylon, 45% acrylic yarn. So this is like the first thing I've knit in a while that's not a natural fiber, and I love it. Like, I think that this is a really great option to knit with. It feels very soft. It's not itchy at all. I'm happy with this, and so is my wallet. My next whip, because I think I shared this in my January wrap up, I'm storing in this box. And it is my Crazy Loopy Fur. I haven't spent a lot of time on this project because I really wanted to finish the baby blanket before we left for our trip. And then I decided I wanted to do the lime skirt, so those took priority. So this is as far as I am on the Crazy Loop Fur. I'm starting with the back panel. I am obsessed. I'm so excited. The color is perfect. I am knitting the smallest size and it's pretty large, but I made a couple of modifications because I'm using, I think, an extra yarn in my project. So I think it recommends 3 and I'm using like 1, 2, 5. I'm using 5 plus a mohair. So my gauge swatch didn't like properly set me up for this, but that's okay. I'm okay with the back being a bit wider. I am planning on probably doing some shoulder shaping on the back and the front and making the front panels maybe a little skinnier to account for how large this project is working up. I am using exclusively Knit Picks yarn for this project for now, so we'll see what happens as I get further into this project, but I have caked up the main colors in groups of 3 to make it easier to work with once I get there. So I'm using 3 of this color, and this is Wool of the Andes, I think. Midnight Heather. So far I've purchased like 30 plus balls of yarn, but I'll do a full wrap-up video once I finish this project. I'm also using another Wool of the Andes, this Sapphire Heather, and the chroma is this sort of changing color in here. It's pretty time consuming, but this is going to be a project that I think I end up working on throughout the entire year, so I don't expect to finish this anytime soon. Like, I'm not rushing to get through it. It is also a stitch pattern that if I rush, I will have like a lot of wrist pain. So I'm taking it easy. When it's calling to me, I'll go for it. I think I will start picking this back up in March. And hopefully finish the back panel, maybe manifesting it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, still really pleased with this. I am so excited to finish it and wear it. Next are my new cast-ons. So first I will start with my little tiny bit of the Sophie shawl that I started. I plan to knit this on our vacation, so I just wanted to get it started and get a good base before we are on the airplane. We are taking a red eye from San Francisco to Houston, and so I wanted to make sure I was set up and ready to go before trying to knit in the dark. But I think this will be a great pattern for vacation because there's like nothing to it. It's knit 6 rows, increase or decrease depending on which side of the shawl you're on. I'm using this really cool Noro yarn. It is 50% cotton, 30% viscose, and 20% silk. It feels like a dishcloth, not in a bad way. Like I am planning to use this not necessarily as like a winter weather scarf, but more as like a casual fashion piece. It's the Uchiwa colorway. This is the tag that it came with. I picked it out without knowing how much it cost. I think this ball of yarn was like $50, which is crazy. But it does come with 500 meters, so I think it's worth it. I mean, I think their process of spinning yarn and just what the end product looks like is really fun and cool and unique. And so I am of the camp of paying for what things are worth, and I think knitting has given me that appreciation, understanding like when I make something, it takes 50 plus hours. Even if I made minimum wage, that's hundreds of dollars for pretty minor projects. And so overall, like, my appreciation for what things cost is like a lot more realistic these days. Finally, I have cast on, just barely, a pair of vanilla socks in this Wool and the Gang sock yarn. It says it's navy, but I'm pretty sure this is black. It has this cool sparkle in it. I don't know how practical these are going to be to wear because of this like glitter thread, but they're cute. Like even if they're not super comfortable, they'll be good enough. Like I'll wear them just because they're cute and not necessarily that they're comfortable. But I cast these on, same deal as the Sophie shawl, so that I would have a project for our trip that's pretty easy, and one that you don't really need to reference a pattern for. My only acquisitions for the month are pretty much totally included in the Scrap SF yarn haul. Scrap SF yarny haul, which I have another video on, I'll link it. And then also my purchase for the Crazy Loop Fur sweater. It came in this massive box that I'm keeping it in, and I'm leaving it there because I don't know where else to store this 30+ ball of yarn stash. Overall this year, I'm not planning on adding to my stash. I'm of the, not philosophy, but like I just am not someone who is regularly places where you can buy yarn. And so when I do end up purchasing it, it's because I have a specific project in mind, which is nice for me. It keeps my stash down. But then I don't have like a beautiful array to choose from. But I'm okay with that for now. I am trying to use up the yarns that I really love that are in my stash this year. I have a couple of projects planned that I've included in my 2023 goals. I'm leaving space for the option to choose to add a project to the list, because I don't buy yarn randomly. I don't feel guilty buying when I have a project in mind, and so I allocate more mentally to projects that I'm really passionate about. I think that's all from me today. I'm really hoping to finish my Nulato sweater in March and make some good progress on the Crazy Loop Fur sweater. So stay tuned to see what gets accomplished in March. And until then, I will see you later.